What is going on? You, Jude, World, Steve, Vinny, Dave. IRP 149. We set a placeholder early in the week. Late last week, it was just some scheduling conflicts came. At some point soon, need to get Ryan and Neil on. It's very important. Some time-sensitive stuff we want to talk about, and pretty much put a back page to the 2023 National at some point. Other than that, this one will be just about a fucking smorgasbord, hodgepodge, cornucopia.
Goulash.
Yeah, well, a jambalaya. We can talk about everything. I'm going to ruin the bingo card already. We can talk about butterscotch discs. We can talk about injuries. We can talk about the national voting. We can talk about urethral troubles. We can talk about whatever. That's for you, lowest rung. We can talk about anything anybody wants. Basically, I'd say it's open mic night, but we don't want Justin's coming on here and.
Well, we do have control over that, so.
Well, I know, but stuff of that ilk.
I guess if we wanted to, we could live dangerously. We could throw up the link and see if anybody wants to jump on, and we could talk about whatever the fuck we want to. We haven't done it before. We can pull a Carlos.
Go old school on it.
We can pull a Carlos and throw the link, and if anybody wants to jump on and shoot the shit and talk about whatever. Maybe actually get Vinny to talk. Maybe. Perhaps. I don't know.
Allegedly.
At least got a smile out of him. I mean, that's something.
Yeah.
That was your invitation to unmute and say something.
You weren't passing butterscotch discs, as Dave said, at 1:16 a.m.
No, I was sleeping comfortably.
As was I.
Shocking, too, because, I mean, it's cooler out now again. It was about 40, 47, 48 last night for the low. Windows were shut most of the way. So I topped on the old big comforter, and man, it was like I've said before, Homer Simpson when he tells them all to go to church and he stays at home, and he's just like, I'm never going to church again, and you can see him in the bed. He looks so it's literally a weighted blanket when it's not. So I mean, I do not move a lot. I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm on my side, hugging the pillows or whatever, and then I'm out. So the alarm woke me up, and I was struggling to get out of bed for work. I'm like, I don't want to go.
Hell yes. I think it was yesterday morning. Today's Tuesday. Yep, yesterday morning. It was like 59 degrees here in the morning. Now, it warmed up quickly.
Yeah.
But, like, interesting. Yeah, 59 degrees. And fair warning, we have a chance for severe storms. We'll see. So in the event that, I lose internet, just figured I'd let you know.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw some of the Storm Chaser guys going live from OK and Texas with hail possibilities. So yes, two of the three were not indulging in butterscotch discs and 1:16 a.m. passings, and not passing of air either.
Passing of stones.
That was when you can see them. And again, it's not like I've got a collection of them or the one guy that's down in Leland, Illinois, just north of where we were for the national, he has the same issue. So he'll just like out of the blue. I mean, we won't text for like a month and a half, 2-3 months, and then he'll just text me, "Passed 2 more stones today." And I'm like, if I had my abacus, I could push two more things over to the side, and like that's now 840 or whatever it is.
32.
No fun.
No bueno.
Let's see. Mike, Yannick, I know Steve's mentioned it in the chat, but Jeff,
Yes, I
Joseph,
try.
um,
I try. Yeah, topics are light. So
I'll say congrats to Mike. That Jameer Nelson, that thing is fucking.
it's a beaut.
That's one reason I always pick up the Orlando Magic players. Those patches when you get the silver with that black in there. Now, any of the other assorted colors, it's pretty nice, especially if you're getting a PC guy, and especially it's Jameer, who I don't remember rookie year 4 or 5, 5, 6, one of those 2 years, I believe.
It looks like 5'6". Just don't hold me to that, but that's what it looks like from the card design because it looks a lot like the football
Okay, yeah,
version from 0506.
and I should somewhat remember because I did have, and it's still somewhere, no clue where they're at. Have a healthy portion of Charlie Villanueva cards. Another one of the PCs I'd still like to go back and revisit because I loved him at UConn, but he sort of had the Michael Jackson type issues with the skin. I don't know if it's like the alopecia or pigment stuff.
Alopecia. I don't think that's what it is, but sounded good at the time. Speaking of PCs, check your email, Dave. By the way, I don't know if you saw my response.
There will be more. I cannot think of them. I know Jason Morrow's probably going to be one.
Well, as you think of them, 0405. So it would still fit into the 05
Yeah.
realm for football because it's like they like to repurpose shit. But yeah, as you think of them, Dave, send them to me, and I'll kind of work on them from time to time. I did it. I mean, I did the OPG for a month just because I finally wanted to get the 93 Bledsoe checklist.
Okay.
And slowly start marking some of that stuff off. Granted, it's going to take me a while to actually fully know for sure which ones I need. But I also wanted to do a new TD checklist just because it's been a while since I've had one with pricing. Not that pricing means shit when it comes to Beckett. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll keep me from having to manually add shit to the later years. I'll revamp my checklist. I'll put, the newer year stuff on there and then go through and make sure I have it all marked. Have accurate counts, that kind of shit. But it was time. Vinny, not that you're a big football guy, but if there's any football player checklist that you can think of that you may or may want. Let me know.
Lambert.
Jack Lambert, you want it fully open?
Yep. And
James Harrison.
that's
Text-
another one.
Text me.
Yeah.
I won't remember.
Yeah. And
I'm
Gary
sure.
Anderson, the
So, yeah,
kicker.
Text me, and
Yep.
I'll run them. I'll send them to you via email.
Troy Edward, Charlie Batch.
Kenny Pickett,
There's
Yeah.
so
Neil
much I
O'Donnell.
want to do.
George Pickens,
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, not Mitch.
Josh Dobbs.
I didn't mind Dobbs. He was all right.
He never got a fair shake though either.
No,
He's
never.
and again, not like he was a top end prospect, but it's like, okay, get him in there, get a look, and then they never did.
They were hell bent on Mason Rudolph,
Well,
and he had
Didn't
the
work.
size. He had a decent arm. He just doesn't have the. I don't know if you want to say the head for it.
he didn't have the chutzpah.
Yeah, he didn't have a football head for the NFL.
He was not Charlie Brown. He was not who else? Tommy Pickles.
Yeah.
So
And Bob, if you happen to be watching, if there's anybody you can think of, like I thought about Moss for him.
I was gonna say send Brad over the Marino.
Well, and that's
Taylor.
the thing. I don't want it to get to the point to where I've got a list like this fucking long, because
Family show.
It did cost me, some money to do this. Not that it's a whole lot. Not that I'm looking for reimbursement, but I don't want to be spending all my free time sending out fucking checklists for everybody. But for those who have certain football guys, and it has to be player specific. It can't be team specific. It has to be player specific. If you're looking for a current checklist, let me know. I'll be more than happy to throw it in Excel and send it to you. I will need email addresses, so if you have my cell phone, text me with your email address and your players. If you don't have my cell phone, send me a DM on Instagram with the list and an email address. So Dave's already got his top 4. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, which is the nice part about it. Now, I'm not sorting. I'm not putting shit in, because the way Beckett does it, like your multi-year, multi-sport product that carry like 93, 94, 94, 95.
Yep.
That type of shit, it's at the very bottom. So I didn't. So for you, Dave, anything that's multi-sport for Kerry Collins or Drew Bledsoe, it's going to be at the very bottom of the spreadsheet. So you'll have to move them up where you want them. But like I said, each one takes about 4 minutes, maybe. So it's not a whole lot of time. So just throwing it out there for anybody who may or may not have some sort of interest. Football only. I thought about doing the full gambit for 1 month, and then when I looked at the price, I'm like, no, not doing it.
Yeah, that's something. I'd like to just do the hockey for 1 month and fucking.
Well, and that's why I was thinking of doing like 1 week of full,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still like, I don't know, 20 something bucks for a week.
Christ.
Because, Brodeur, Lemieux for you and Joe, both, Vinny, for Lemieux. But, Brodeur Forsberg, all your hockey guys, Dave. And that's kind of what I was thinking as far as why I was initially thinking about it. But I'm like, 20 something dollars for for 1 week. And no.
And then you probably have to take a week off of work just to fucking send them out to everyone, especially with
So
mine.
I paid $15 for 1 month of football. So that'll give you an idea if you want to, and I can show anybody how to do it. It's not hard. It's not difficult.
That's what she said.
Well, that's what you hope she doesn't say. But if for any reason, like you guys like decide to do hockey for a month, like I said, I can show you how to do it. It's pretty easy, actually. Pretty simple. Of course, it took me like an hour and a half to figure out how the fuck to redo it because I hadn't done it in so long. I'm like, I don't remember this shit being this difficult. What in the actual fuck is going on? But
No, Christ, I can't. Like I said, I've told you guys before. I know. Like I said, must have been 04, 05, 06, somewhere in there. Someone would sell on eBay like the complete checklist up to that point of players. And I mean, it'd be like $10. And I'm like, you know what? To not have to sign up for something, to have it sent like the old school, it wasn't the ribboned computer paper, but it was just like regular printer paper. Everything was like a half space between it, so you didn't have the fucking everything bunched up. So if you had to cross something out, there's room, or make a notation underneath. It was again a fucking shit ton of pages for Collins, but I'm like, now I've got something in front of me. Do I know where that is now? Not a clue.
well,
So
so here's the thing. If you like, I could add additional columns because it's in Excel. It's not like I can't add additional columns. You've seen my checklist where I have separate tabs for each year. I find it easier that way because I can go straight to the 2001 tab and whatever, like me, anything that I have highlighted in red, I have. So anything that's black are cards that I still need. So I can filter it by color and I can look at exactly what cards I need. Or if I'm doing a audit of the collection, I can filter it to red and go through 2001 and look at every freaking card, making sure that my checklist aligns with what I say I have.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I prefer to do it from the separate tabs perspective. Hey, Orlando. And then I have my calculations and based on, serial number 5 or less, obtainable, that type of stuff. That's my own personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's one of those in which it's not difficult to put it all in a sheet like that. But for you, if you wanted a printout, for instance, I could add an additional column to each one, or an additional row, whichever way you wanted to do it, to give you some extra space in between. Like for Collins, I'd probably reduce the font a little bit, so it would cut down on the number of pages. But for something like that, because that's one of your main guys, and you would prefer to have something in your hand, I'd be willing to print it out and send it to you. But I'm not going to do it for all your guys.
Hey. So I'll send you a case of paper.
It's not the paper, it's the ink.
It was Well, it would be the one. One would be the paper because there would be a fucking ton of paper.
I have 3 reams of paper in here. I'm good on paper.
That'd
So
be-
and see, here's the thing: my company covers my supplies for my printer, anyways. But even then,
Yeah.
it's more along the lines of it would eat through the ink more so than it would the paper.
Like I need like 2 cases of black ink, please. Like two
But
cases of black ink. Like yeah, a lot of things have been going on. I've been
well, so it hits my cost center though, so it's not like we have so much budgeted for like office supplies and shit. So I still have to be a little leery when it comes to that to a degree. But for something like Bledsoe and Collins being your 2 main guys, if you told me how you wanted it laid out and stuff along those lines, I could do that. But I also know you're not looking like for Collins, you'd be going what 92 to what 2000 something, give or take. That would be your focal point. Like
Collins is sort of like your Terrell Davis. It's like I'd rather have playing days, and then of course, yeah, I like the Carolina. That's always going to be 1. Through the Giants is going to be 2, which includes New Orleans, the brief stop there, and then after that, I don't say I don't care, but Tennessee, Oakland.
you care, but you don't care.
If it's something super low numbered, a final score, something like that, then my interest picks up quickly. If something like 50 or 100, I'm just like, man. If there's free shipping, I'm more apt to throw like a $5 bet on it.
Right.
Yeah, the first world problems of life. That
Well, like I said, and that's the thing, because the TD checklist is all inclusive, of course. It goes through whatever's been released and somewhat been checklisted on Beckett as of today. So everybody knows my focus is through 2015 as it pertains to the full aspect super collecting definition. Do I go for stuff after 2015? Absolutely. It's just I'm a little bit more picky, let's say. And then, of course, playing days of through 2015 is like the top priority. But anything through 2015 is the bread and butter of the collection. So the nice thing about it is the fact now that all the newer stuff 19, 20, 21, 22, and probably even like 18 and 17. Most of that shit that I had in my spreadsheet, I hand typed that crap. Now I can just fix it and add it from the export, and I'll have everything for those years and won't have to type anything more, which is kind of nice. But there's always that double check. There's always that verification of when I break it up into tabs, looking at my spreadsheet, doing a total count, and looking what Beckett shows for that year to make sure they jive.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I know I have I think it's O2 Fleer Premium.
Mm-hmm.
Beckett does not have checklisted the patch variation of the premium team jerseys. Now, I don't know if it was unreleased type situation or somehow, shape, form, or fashion, Beckett just didn't have the information. But like, so my checklist that I use, my counts may have a few more than what Beckett shows because I actually have the fucking card.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know Beckett isn't perfect. They got their information from the manufacturers. So there's always that possibility that something may have gotten missed. And the other thing I like about Beckett's checklist, though, is it doesn't just include cards. It's
No,
got like the
that
headliners. It's
the
got. Go ahead, Dave.
the 98, whatever the hell those little the tops flats or whatever the fuck those were, and like the little. I don't know if TD had one that year. I can remember I bought a Ryan Leaf, and it had the Ryan Leaf rookie card, but behind it, and then it was like a top, like the small little tops figure.
Well, and that's like headliners are little figures. They've
Yep.
got the headliners XL, which is the bigger one, and then they've got the small one. They've got like the PT Cruiser with TD.
Yep. Hot Wheels or
all-
whatever.
Yeah, all your starting lineup cards are listed in there. Anything issued by Highland Mint,
Okay.
it usually has a lot of that. So it's more inclusive. It includes the Dahmer's preferred tins, both the individual pack tins and then the fucking like the box tin if your player happened to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's color variations as well. So it's
Red, blue, green, silver, whatever they were, or not green, gold.
yep. So blue and silver and gold for the individual tins, and then I think it was blue and gold for the actual boxes. Dave may have been voguing. He won't admit to it, but
I know
that-
I
like
was.
Yeah, I was
like I
like,
said, that's
why wouldn't I? There's
but that's one of the main things that I like about Beckett is, oh, that was weird. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, that was odd. Is that it includes more stuff than just cards. So, like your pro magnets are another thing. The
okay.
flick balls. Do you remember the flick balls? The
Yeah.
pro flick balls. They have that's in the checklist. So
Pogs, stuff of that ilk.
yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. But that's the one thing I appreciated. I know Eric, who hasn't been here in forever, would probably
Yeah, Eric, what the fuck are
disprove.
you? Like, and make Eric pay for not being here.
Right.
Got all these new cards to fucking show him hockey wise, and he hides with the chocolate sticks on his bike.
Well, I actually have cards to show. I showed them all to Dave already. Benny, you missed out. I'll show them again later. We'll have Dave have the commentary because he's better with this brand than I am. But you'll understand why I said that you and Dave would appreciate them more when I do show them here a little bit later. It was a nice win, to say the least, especially since 4 cards completely wiped out what I was needing for one specific set variation, which was nice.
Man, you're probably not going to be able to see the numbering. It just sucks. Sorry about the lighting and the glare.
I can't see the numbering.
It's Pacific something.
Can you see it?
No, Dave.
Can you see it? The glare?
Yes,
No,
the
we
glare
freaking can.
That, and again, it's such a bold printing on there anyway. To 34 out of it, 2000 private stock premiere date, and that was about a month ago. I think somebody had put it up for like a $5.99 buy it now. I'm like, immediate. I'm like, I don't. That again, that's what I get for watching one of the storm chasers that's down in where Holiday, Texas. Because I see, I don't know what the hell, Iowa Parkway, Electra, something else on his like little
Like I have no idea where the fuck that is.
Wichita Falls. I think is somewhere over that way. That's where it
That's
starts.
north. That's north of us.
That's starting. That's like where all the stuff is sort of matriculating from. That like going southeast. So
Yeah, that's just south of the border. Well, it's not just south of the border. It is, but you trying to put things into perspective. So 35, which is west of where I live,
yep,
runs north and south.
yep,
That goes like straight into Oklahoma.
yep.
So,
'Cause that's OKC more over that way.
so you've got Denton, Gainesville, something else, and then you get to hit Oklahoma. Wichita Falls, west on 380 for
Because this would be, I don't know if your
30
state
something miles.
82. I know it's not an interstate because it's not the red and
Yeah, it's a state highway, but that's
so
what I was getting at. Like it's 30 or 35, 40 miles west to then get on 82 and you
mhm.
go north, and then that's when you'll hit Wichita Falls. So
Well, if anybody knows a light box that is a real good light box, I mean that's what I'm looking for.
that helps nothing when it
And
comes
then
to
like
showing cards on a live stream.
tripod, um, a curio cabinet with um, UV resistant glass. I mean, I want the lighting on the inside. I mean, that's how I want. What should I say? What should I call it? I'd almost call it my. Vinny, can you help me on this one?
I think you're going for
Setup.
setup, Dave.
Correct. It's my setup. No, it doesn't help, but I'm on the phone, so you've got the immediate glare of the screen, and then you get the TV over here, which, I mean, no matter which way I turn the card, you're gonna fucking catch the reflection of a whatever it is, 56-inch TV. So
Well, and the light next to you kind of
yeah, I
adds
mean,
to it.
but yeah, it's
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 the,
nothing.
it's the Montreal screw job. You're screwed every
Yeah,
which way.
doesn't matter.
What, Vinny? You have something to say?
Hi.
You unmuted. Typically, when you unmute, you have something to say.
I'm sort of floating.
Well, you need to be
Huh?
closer. You need to be closer to the screen if you're floating. Closer.
I have a weight on so my head doesn't float away. We wouldn't want to go down that alley. But no, last night was an adventure. So I woke up at midnight and felt like somebody was sticking a, ice pick through my kidneys. And so as Dryden was laying here, Golly was sort of here. So I'm just petting dogs. It'll go away. And then I got up to use the facilities. And for some reason, I decided to grab a strainer. I know. And there it was. This piece of rock that's been traveling. It went to the National with me. It didn't even have to buy a ticket. So, needless to say, that's one of them out. I feel a lot better today. Didn't feel like I had to use those said facilities every 30 seconds. So,
It'd be nice if they could figure out why the fuck you get them so bad.
I'm gonna send this to be analyzed. I called the number today. They said they're gonna send me a envelope with a what do you call that?
Like the test tube or whatever
Yeah,
in
the
there.
test tube deal, and they're supposed to send it to my house. So 2 to 3 business weeks.
2 to 3 business weeks.
Yes. So I'll get that in the mail, send it off, and they could tell me what it's made out of. And it sure ain't sugar and spice and everything nice.
Well, we know that because that's not you in the first place.
Yeah, the funny thing, this one was smooth, almost like a worry stone. It didn't have any barbs or jagged little edges. So it I looked down and I was like, well, shnikes. There it is.
You almost slipped.
Yeah, I almost slipped. So
It'd be nice if they could figure out why you get them so bad.
And I've cut down on stuff. I'm drinking more water at night. I can't compete with the better half because she drinks like 4 or 5 liters of water a day. And I'm sure over there drinks his share of water too.
Yeah, we'd like to welcome to the show.
See, he's getting his daily dose.
Good timing.
Yeah.
We couldn't have planned that any better. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, Mark?
Same old shit, different day.
Yeah, tell me about it. What's the topic du jour? Work sucks. I'm in training, so work sucks every day.
Training for what?
It's brutal. So when you transfer to a new facility, it takes 2-ish years to get certified. So people just yell at you and make fun of you for 2 years straight, basically.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, super fun. Lots of fun.
When did you transfer?
What's up?
So when did you transfer? That had to have been recent.
I transferred last February.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm nearing the end of my training, and I'm going to make it. So it's just pressure time. But half the people that come to the place I work now, half of them either quit or fail. So I feel happy that I'm at least going to make it through training, but it's very stressful. Definitely a lot more stressful than the last place I worked by a multitude. I don't know, 5 times, 10 times more stressful. It's all good.
Well, see, that's why you needed to spend more time with us in Chicago. Then maybe your stress
That's right.
wouldn't have been as bad.
Dude, I gotta tell you, cards, man, I've really relied on the hobby, recently, just being so stressed out. It's nice just to kind of zone out and look at cards and do research and read about it. And it's been fantastic. I need like some kind of an outlet, something to do just to blow off some steam,
Nothing wrong with that.
Besides drinking bourbon, because I've been drinking too much bourbon.
Well, as long as it's not Millard.
I have not touched that. It stares at me from my liquor shelf. I ran out of bourbon the other day, and I was like, what else do I have? And I looked at the Malort, and I was like, can't do it. I almost did it. No, I can't do it.
Well, you already said you're going to save it for 25, so.
That's right. It's got to age.
Oh,
I didn't know turpentine could age.
Yeah.
Well,
A couple of years. So the National's going to be in Chicago 3 years in a row, huh?
25 and 26 for sure.
It's not going to be in 27?
Well, they hadn't gone that far out yet.
It's
Not that I know
how
of.
how far back has it been every other year in Chicago? How far does that go back?
What, 10 years? 12 years?
Yeah. Wait, that's older than the hobby itself. How is that possible? Didn't the hobby start in 2019?
2016.
Oh, okay. I've heard 2019 thrown around.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Whenever they started in it, that's when it started.
Before or after Jeff? That's where we
Jeff
have to.
Wilson?
Yeah, that's how we
Man, that
officially
guy.
know our timetable.
So I have to admit, I often will click on his videos. I just can't look away. And I get triggered every time I watch his videos. He's like a robot.
See, this is
So let Steve answer this one.
I quit hate washing.
like Dave and Vinny were the worst forever. They'd send like in the group chat, like just to our like group chat. Holy fuck, this is some bullshit. I can't and like freaking go off. And I'm like, guys, change the station. Stop watching.
There's two channels that I click on all the time that I don't really necessarily like, and it's Sports Card Radio and Sports Card Investor. I can't look away.
Well, Sports Card Radio, I watch every one of theirs, except for their live streams because I don't care. But
Right.
I love them or hate them. I'm not condoning what they do. I'm not always agreeing with what they do or what they say or how they do what they do. But it's one of those in which if you're wanting to kind of get an idea of how things are going in certain
yes, they do an excellent job of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you watch it for face value, there is substance, there is some value to what they provide. Now, do they hyper focus on like all the hobby heroes when it comes to all the main guys that people are focusing on? Herbert, Burrow, Franco, Ellie De La Cruz, those type of guys. It's a lot. It's hyper focused on those guys because they're the ones
Very
who are
negative.
but they're the ones who are getting most of the hobby attention.
Right.
It seems. But if you're wanting a good overview of kind of like the pulse of what's going on, they bring some value.
Yes, they do. Definitely. I just think I think those guys are jerks, but they do some good work. So
no, they're assholes, but they know they're assholes and they don't care, and that's okay. But Dave's an asshole.
No, Dave's not an asshole.
He is. He'll tell you he's an asshole.
Yep.
But there's a difference between being an asshole and being an asshole. Like Dave's just an old curmudgeon asshole. These guys do it because they feel like they can. They do it for attention.
They're like edgy about it.
Like I watch them. I watch everything they put out because I don't. First and foremost, I don't watch any of the other douche nozzles that are out there on YouTube. So I don't buy into a lot of that. So if I want kind of a status of what's going on with some of the big time guys when it comes to like drops in value.
That's why I watch it too. They do good work.
And they bring to light shit that other people aren't willing to bring to light.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that this kind of cracked me up, but there's a lot of people out there that, try and compare them as, the YouTube's version of card porn. Well, look what the fuck happened to card porn.
Right.
So it's like, people need to know the good, the bad, the ugly, And for those who actually do give a shit and are concerned about the possibility of bad eggs and bag dealings and everything else, there's nothing wrong with bringing it to the table. Just make sure you come to the table with facts.
Yeah.
And if they come with speculation, they mention, some of this is speculation. We're waiting to
Right.
hear more information. We'll provide more information as it comes available. They add value, and this is only one person's opinion.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I watch, I don't watch all their stuff, but every now and then I'll click on it when it shows up on my feed, and it's entertaining for sure. I've said before, they're the TMZ of the hobby. Like, that's what they are.
Yep. And that's a great analogy. So it's, like I said, love them or hate them, they bring value. I don't dislike them. I think they've handled themselves not in the best of ways in certain instances. But, who's to say that all of us here who have always handled ourselves in the most professional or,
Yeah,
on the up and up? So,
fair.
no, you're just opinionated, Dave. And everybody's entitled to their opinions. And
Unless you don't like vintage. And I don't mean cyclical. I mean vintage baseball cards, because that's the hobby starting in 2018, and anybody not collecting 79 and back, you are not part of the hobby.
Well, that's true. Everybody knows that.
So I mean,
and case in point, though, that's why I'm getting at. Everybody has their own opinion. If you're going to put your opinion out there, whether it be with the norm or outside the norm as far as your opinion, be prepared for backlash. It's a public space. If you've got freaking thin skin and you're going to be opinionated about something, if you don't want to hear the responses or the retorts, I would recommend not putting the shit out there. It's as simple as that. Not everybody agrees with my opinions, and that's fine. I'm not here for everybody to agree with my opinions. That would make it boring. I don't need people in my circle or my friends to be a bunch of yes people. No. Then you have boring conversation. Could you imagine what it was like in Chicago as we're sitting there shooting the shit, opening junk trunks, and anytime anybody ever said something that was somebody's opinion and we're all like, oh, yeah, man. That would have been a little boring of a conversation.
Agreed.
But, I do have a question. Is it just me, or has the hobby news kind of hit a lull as it pertains to like some of the shit that's going on, like the Panini Fanatics lawsuit stuff has kind of like gone on the back burner. Not much has been heard or said.
I think they're just waiting for more details to come out, and then there's always going to be drama. Like, we're waiting for the next big drama piece, The Michael Jordan jersey was the last big one, I think.
Yep.
And then I think we're just waiting to see what's going to happen with this lawsuit and with the NFL cards. And I'm kind of out of the loop. I usually find out like a week after. So there's nothing new about that?
Not that I know of.
Are we gonna get Topps Chrome football next year?
See, and that's the thing. There's too many moving parts right now to know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, 'cause
Because
two separate licenses, the NFL license and the
it's only
NFLPA.
it's only the NFLPA that has severed their relationship with Panini.
Isn't this similar to what happened with Tops? And then the question well, Tops can put out the team logos, but they don't have the MLBPA. So are they going to do like garbage pail Yankees and Red Sox cards? Like, what are they going to do? And it was kind of in purgatory. And then Fanatics just acquired Tops and just called it a day.
With the football stuff, I think it's a little bit more convoluted because like Panini's still putting out stuff. Like they're still releasing products to this day.
Without the NFLPA. So it's like an injunction or whatever, where they're like, no, you can't pull the rug out from underneath us. We're just going to keep making stuff.
I think whatever's printed and packed out is currently like being allowed.
Are they not? They're not printing.
Well, that's the thing.
Stuff.
But that's where the NT shit comes in, because that's never in season. It's always like right before the draft or as the draft is going on. That's when NT would come in.
Flawless is the same way.
Yeah, all your, I think iMac comes out a little before that, just to have something bigger out, and you're not pushing all three at the same time. But what's that going to do for that? If they're not to press with all that shit, then what? Are they going to be allowed to print off the stuff, or is it going to be something that's like, well, no, you can't go to the press after this stuff took place?
Well,
now
what? Something to keep in mind though. So it's the blanket NFLPA license that they said, we're severing ties. But there are individual players that may have contracts with Panini that they must fulfill. So some of your specific guys, what I'm thinking is, yes, the contract is severed, but that doesn't mean that there's any legal ramifications potential for Panini to continue to issue products. They may have to revamp their checklists a little bit, but there are individual players that have agreements with Panini. Now, me personally, from a football perspective, like I want Topps Chrome football back.
I was just going to ask that.
I want it back, but I don't want it with no team logos. No. Like people have bought onto the baseball stuff and Panini baseball products and no logos and everything else. Great and wonderful.
Not me.
Panini has done a good.
I can't do it.
They've done a good job with it, but would Topps/Fanatics be able to do the same thing? I don't know, but I don't want Topps Chrome football without NFL logos. I don't want it. So if like Fanatics creates Topps Chrome football for the 2025 season and it's not with NFL logos, I'm not gonna own any of it.
Unless we send Earl Davises that are in it.
No. Gifts, different story, yes. But like I'm not gonna go out and acquire a complete set.
No.
Like I normally would. Now, years down the road, because I'll feel like there's a void in the collection, maybe, but it's not going to be as enjoyable to me because, like, and to me, it's different than like college stuff because, you know, there's a lot of people who team collect or player collect and they don't want college stuff. Like me, that doesn't bother me. But it's not the same because at least when you get something that's in a college uniform, it's like for Terrell Davis, it's University of Georgia. It is the college.
Mhm.
Football cards with no NFL logos, I don't think you're going to have the same sort of buy-in like you would for baseball.
Well, you see it with Leaf. How many times can you get like a Joe Montana auto for 50, 60, 70 bucks out of Leaf? You get a Donruss Classic, so you get a playoff momentum from early 2000s. It's over $100 card every time. People just, again, they're nice cards, but you don't have that logo. NFL crowd is more fickle.
Yep.
Baseball, like you said, has at least bought in a bit to it with the no logos.
That's how I feel about baseball though. Like I don't look down on anyone for collecting that stuff, but I can't do it. I'm not able to do it. Like the biggest card I've ever hit was out of Leaf Metal Baseball. And I just even having the card in hand, it was a beautiful card. It was a big prospect at the time, and it was a super fractor auto. And it was Brendan Rodgers from the Rockies. He was like a top 10 prospect. I couldn't do it. So I sold it. And this was back in like 2015. And I think, before the hobby went crazy. So it was like 150 bucks. But I couldn't get past the no logo. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's to each their own. Leaf has done a good job for the simple fact that it gives collectors an opportunity to buy big name players at much more affordable prices.
Yep.
So it's found its place in the hobby. And they do I'll give them credit, they do a fairly good job. But sometimes like their creative side of the business, sometimes they do too much. It's almost like there's too much shit going on with the card.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention like some of the pairings and shit that they put on duels and triples and quads. You're like, okay, what the fuck's the connection? Like, what was it? Was it last year's products? They had 2 dual autos of Terrell Davis. One was with Elway, numbered to 7, and one was with him and Atwater. Not that that's a completely unusual pairing because they played for the same team, but like, why those 2? Elway, TD, I get, but Terrell Davis and Atwater, could you not have done like Rod Smith, Shannon
McCaffrey.
Sharp, McCaffrey, something like that? That to me would have made a little bit more sense. But that was the only 2 dual autos that they had. I don't get it. So some of their pairings and that type of stuff is a little odd. And some of their stuff is way too busy. It's just they try and do too much with a standard card almost. That's just one guy's opinion.
That's how you do a quad, and it's Panini. That's back when they could do something. So you got Ovi, St. Louis, Lindros, and Mario. That card, but notice at the right there, NHLPA helps.
Well, when you have both licenses, that's what makes the difference.
Oh, the NHL's there too. So, right there.
Yep. But I will also go out there and say that one manufacturer screws the pooch because it limits creativity and innovation when you only have one manufacturer doing licensed products. The 90s and the 2000s, it'll never be repeated.
No.
Ever. So
Why
ever.
Why don't these leagues sell to multiple companies? Wouldn't they make more money?
Potentially, but something that like all of us need to keep in mind. We don't know what that whole process contractually looks like anyways. But even then, like Jeff's told the story, Pacific basically was the odd man out when the NFL and the NFLPA decided to reduce the number of manufacturers. It's like they freaking picked their names out of a hat almost. And they were the odd men out. And they were no longer allowed to produce NFL licensed products. Biggest mistake, in my opinion, that the NFL and the NFLPA could have ever done, because Pacific was way beyond their years and always bringing something new to the table. But, granted, at some point, you eventually run out of fucking ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're seeing now is the rehash of a lot of the older card designs and, technologies and laser cutting and that type of stuff. It's like, what more can you do? And change some color foils and, do some mixed and matched foils and that type of stuff. But you look at stuff from the 90s, 2000s, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to find something that's already been done.
And better back then than it is now.
But that's why, everything nowadays is so parallel focused. Everything has 65 parallels.
Out of control.
Because you can't, when it comes to insert card designs and everything else, it's what more are you going to bring to the table?
Taco fractor.
Taco fractor. That's.
Have you heard about the new cold fractor?
The what?
It's a cold fractor. It's coming out in is it Topps Chrome update? I don't know, but the design is actually really cool. Like, it looks different enough that I think it brings something to the table. It looks like ice, and the cards, for instance, there'll be a cold fractor number to -5. So there's a 0, a -1, a -2, a -3, a -4, and a -5. And it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. A cold fractor. -1 out of -5. Unbelievable. But again, the picture of the design that I saw actually looks pretty cool, but it's out of control.
Mike O says they're frozen fractors.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
You were close. It's not like you were fucking way off in left field or some shit.
Yeah, it's pretty good for me. My friend sent it to me, and I thought it was like an Onion article.
Yeah.
It's like, this is real? Does anyone know what the taco fractor does? Like, there was, when I read about it initially, again, I thought it was a joke. And then people were saying, well, something's going to happen with these. Like, they're going to be worth something because there's some utility to these, like free tacos for a year or something. Does anyone know? Has that been discovered? Because they're super short printed.
Yeah,
You know?
that seems like a bunch of nonsense. And again, I know it's not, but like, why wouldn't you have like a you crash the game instant win tacos for a year where somebody actually fucking can legitimately be like, hey, I know what the like payoff of this card is instead of some arbitrary
Right.
hoping and praying that somebody at some point in time while we're still all alive and we have whatever like a Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah.
It's
I make fun of the parallels, but I mean, I go nuts for the Topps Black, the Topps Chrome Gold, the Reds. So I can't laugh too much, but I draw the line. It's got to have longevity to the parallel for me to care. Like, I don't care about a camo or a Mother's Day pink. Like I don't do football, but I see these cards all the time. The prism parallels, like, it's just out of control.
yeah. When you have fucking the Arbor Day green or the Save a Whale Day aqua blue, it's like you don't need. Instead of coming up with another fucking Crayola color, the chartreuse and the
Yeah,
come
purple
up with
power. That's one I just learned about, the purple power prism.
some sort of fucking innovative insert. Which again, you're gonna have to get different talking heads in there and figure it out. But I mean, at some point, and I don't know when it'll happen because it hasn't happened yet. People just buy worse than they did 5, 6, 7 years ago for the group breaks. I mean, people are just spending foolishly and hoping.
What did Mike say?
It's a bullshit card with tacos on them. Haven't announced anything about them. They sell for a ton. It's nuts. And that's all.
I mean, part of me likes it, the absurdity of it. Are those taco fractors?
I wish. Probably be my most valuable Josh Johnson. No recent additions, black, gold, and Topps black. So
See, those are cool because they've been doing that a long time. But
mhm.
my point is just I can't just scoff at parallels in general when I myself go after the parallels. You know what I mean? I can't look down on it. I don't know.
It's if you're a player collector, it's the two F's. It's fun and it's frustrating because you don't want to have fucking 835 parallels of the same stupid card. It's like, wow, there's the same image, same image, same image, same image in the Crayola colors, and then somebody has a flag, somebody has a diaper, somebody has a toilet, somebody has the place we stayed at for the national, a pothole. I mean, it's like every fucking conceivable thing. You have a fucking parallel or name for the set. It's you just pull names out of a fucking hat and be like, well, here's the asphalt. Well, here's the periwinkle. Well, here's the hot dog. Well, here's the Boarhead's roast beef. Well,
Stop giving them ideas.
Here's the Geritol. That's like, Jesus, like what? There's the Bible refractor. Open it up and there's Jesus talking with Mike Trout, like some sort of picture, like the old booklets. Like, what? But that's where their ingenuity is. Just pick a color, pick a theme, pick a topic, pick a person, place, thing. It's like Wheel of Fortune. It's like let's watch Wheel of Fortune for 4 or 5 hours and pick up something there.
How about
Sounds
Monopoly
good.
cards?
Well, I'm
My
sure
buddy
that
sent me. My buddy sent me an eBay listing for a Monopoly card, and he said, "What the hell is this?" There's Monopoly cards, and it's just the card with the Monopoly logo. Like, what is this?
lazy.
Well, you do have Prism Monopoly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, the mystery taco fractor sold for over $11,000.
What was the mystery taco fractor?
Exactly that.
You know, I will say, we're all talking about it, right? We're tacoing about it. Like they're doing something, right? You know what I mean? Like maybe that's what they want. They're like embracing it. Let's just come up with the most absurd shit we can and just get a buzz going. Hey fellas,
Yeah,
I gotta
but
run. I gotta get out of here. I'll catch you guys later.
no worries, Mark. Have a good one, man.
Go ahead,
Sorry
Thanks
to
for
Mark.
coming
bounce
on.
at the last second. See you fellas.
Later, Mark.
What's next? The burger fractor? The
Well,
fry
that's what I mean. You can
fractor?
have like the McDonald's fractor. It's going to be red, yellow, and Grimace might be on there. Or the Hamburglar, those little like pom pom things, or
Mary McCheese,
birdie. I mean,
Fry Guy.
yeah, it's
Dave from Wendy's. Colonel Sanders from KFC.
I'd get those. Anything KFC, I'm going to support.
I mean, they've put influencers on cards. Why not?
I wish, and again, I wish I would have done it a few years ago before he died. Saved by the Bell cards, I think, would have been a boon. So you could have Screech on there and have like you want to have your fucking stupid Panini booklet. You could have Lark Voorhees and with Lisa Turtle, Elizabeth Berkley, the Jesse Spano, Kelly Kapowski, Mr. Belding, AC Slater,
No,
have
no,
Zach
no,
Morris.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no.
no relation to Greg Morris. And
Are
then
you saying no to Saved by the Bell cards? What
Yes,
the
I'm
hell?
saying. I am absolutely saying no. That show was. I can't believe I watched that show. Looking
Mike
back
Gordon,
later on, I'm like, what was
Bob
I
Bullock.
thinking?
Hey,
He's done.
we could say that
I'm
to a lot.
sorry.
We could say that to a lot of shows, though. I mean, there's a lot of stupid shit back then that we watched religiously because, again, it wasn't like today where
Yeah,
I can watch YouTube, I can watch ESPN Plus, I can watch Paramount Plus, I can watch whatever I've got, Peacock. I can watch all this shit. Tubi, I can go and just find a movie outside in there. Or Pluto, whatever the apps are, I can find it. 30 years ago, there wasn't that option. It was
you have a point. We
three,
watched
six,
a lot of stuff because we only had it.
ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, a local station maybe. Then you had a couple like QVC, maybe. I think we had that, and then we didn't have like Shop at Home or Home Shopping until later. ESPN didn't even have The Deuce yet. That wasn't even out till like late '93, early '94.
Unless you had cable.
And then our cable didn't have ESPN2, so I got to miss the Duke Carolina game at the end of, I don't know if it was 94, the 94-95 year, and 95-96, because it was only on ESPN2. I'm like, well, that's stupid. That's a fucking game I haven't missed in 5 years. Now I get to miss it because of that. TNN, USA, TNT, TBS. I mean, you had 30 to 40 channels on like a fairly basic cable. I mean, if you're in a big metro market, yeah, you probably had more, but up here, I think we had 39 channels. And then that was including what, 2 and 5 were like Showtime and HBO, which we didn't get because we weren't going to pay the extra whatever for it. But so yeah, watching Saved by the Bell, it's not the worst thing, but again, in retrospect, if you had that today and you're like, man, I'm going to watch Saved by the Bell marathon. The stupid, like the drug one, that was the best when they're taking like the fucking caffeine pill. Like
Hey,
that's what you're using, fucking caffeine pills. No dose. Okay.
I watched. When was that? There was literally nothing else on TV, and I couldn't find anything to watch on Netflix. I watched, like I say, by the Bell marathon because I watched it religiously. But I watched it because of Tiffany Amber Thiessen. God, she was hot. And I watched the college years.
Yep.
And I think I watched 2 episodes of the reboot, and I'm like, okay, this should have never even been attempted. You got like Zach as the shit, and Slater's a freaking the wrestling coach or some shit. It's like you're missing Mr. Belding. Mr. Belding was the best part of that freaking show, man.
The comedic foil.
So, but you know, after school, man, there wasn't shit really on TV. And if you think about it, that damn show ran for fucking ever. Because it started when they were in middle school with Miss Bliss. And then it's almost like high school lasted like 6 years or some shit before they went to the college years.
And then they sort of got squeezed out because that's when 90210 became super popular. Melrose Place became.
Yep.
It's like, okay, if Tiffany Amber Thiessen ain't showing nothing, we're done with this. We can go over here, and Jenny Garth and Shannon Doherty and Tori Spelling are walking around in basically tube tops and mini skirts, and it's like Tiffany Amber Thiessen has like the mom jeans and like suspenders on. What am I gonna watch? CSA by the Bell. I'm skipping school today, so and then Party of Five. I think that was on not too long after that, and
Yeah. Seventh Heaven.
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek.
And they just start popping those things out left and right. It was.
What was the other one? One Tree Hill.
Yeah, it was in the same later, but same brackets of years, basically that decade.
But
then
you know, it's
Step by Step had a bunch on there.
It's all about the era. You know, if you really think about it, all those same type of shows, the same kind of storyline ish, all were in the same decade.
Yep.
And then, of course, it changed. Because, I mean, you also had like Family Matters and
Blossom,
Perfect Strangers.
Fresh
well,
Prince.
that was the 80s. Perfect Strangers.
Tail end.
Great show, though. Great show. Full House, Growing Pains, Who's the Boss?
Let's see, those were 80s too, but I mean, they were
late 80s, yes.
Same sort of thing. You had a family, you had troubles, you had ups, you had downs.
That's the facts of life, Dave. You take the good, you take the bad.
It up, and then you have butterscotch discs.
Gabagool.
That's the only thing I wish I would have. When Mark was on, we could have asked him what he thought about the video, having a hand in the video. So I showed it to Naomi, and she was like, she missed like several things. I'm like, you gotta listen 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 to, especially when I was like in the mirror. I'm like, because I'm like, you can hear the noise, but you gotta listen after that because you're laughing so hard from the noise.
Yep.
Kabagoo.
I'm surprised because, like, I get the live streams actually getting close to 100 views.
Hmm.
You know, they're 2.5, 3 hours long. For those who either stick around for the entire time or they may have missed parts of it, so they watch part of it in the replay, that type of stuff. But like, if you look at all the chasing to hits, most of them have like 20 something views. At least that video, at least last I checked, was at 62. I was somehow hoping that, you know, it was going to go viral or some shit. But still, mad props to freaking Mark. Mark did a fantastic job. Couldn't have planned that better, even if we sat down and like talked through it and threw out ideas. Like he fucking nailed it. Some of those views are duplicate views, I'm sure, from myself and Vinny and you, Dave. But you know, hey, it's we're doing it because we need a good laugh. So
Vinny's face at the beginning. That's so.
what are you talking about? It looks like my hand's freaking coming out of my neck or some shit. But yeah, no.
Oh, just the 10 of us. Yep. That's what I thought it was. That was the PE teacher from Growing Pains, got his own show. He moved from wherever they were to another town, and he became the PE teacher or the head athletics at a college or something.
If you say so, I'll take your word for it. That's not a show I know.
Yep. I remember that. Let's see what years it was on.
Probably 88 to 88.
Yeah, it was one season and it was 1988.
That was a lucky guess, Dave. Don't act like you fucking knew that.
I can't believe it was only on one season.
And that was probably two years into Growing Pains, 2 or 3. So it's like, well, that makes sense.
It had 47 freaking episodes for one season.
Well, if you go to your like local Menards or whatever your Lowe's type store that isn't Lowe's or
The Home
Home Depot. Yeah, if it's like we got like Fleet Farms up here, something of that nature. Go to the DVD section. You'll probably find that in like a carousel over there, like the complete run for $9.99.
Yeah, I was trying to.
With not saying there was 2 seasons. Make up your mind, Google. One from 88, April of 88 to May 4th of 1990.
Yeah, and I don't remember that at all. And that would have been prime TV watching years. Even not having the remote or control of it, it's like you still knew what was on pretty much all the time, and what you were avoiding because you didn't care for it, and other stuff you're like, oh, I want to watch it, and Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, watched that quite a bit too.
Watching The Good Doctor, Cliff Huxtable, and him giving out pudding pops.
I didn't watch The Cosby Show much.
Thursdays were the Albatross. I remember that. That was like stuff that, again, people liked, but it was mostly older people. Unsolved Mysteries was on, and that was the only thing I cared to watch. So I think Law and Order was at 9.
Back when it was, who was it? Was it Robert Pack? Who was the host?
No, it would have been Robert Stack.
Robert Stack. I was
Robert
close.
Pack played for North Carolina State at that time.
Shut up, Dave.
You know, it's a family event.
Major day.
Because the new Unsolved Mysteries with what's his face. It's not the same.
Dennis Farino.
Yeah, whatever the hell his name is. Yeah.
They didn't have the same music. That was one of the huge keys. Like when you have like tonight on Unsolved Mysteries, and it's like the 4 things, and then they go to like the start like showing, okay, here's like somebody getting arrested, here's like the UFO, here's like lost loves, and they're like looking at it, and then it goes like to the Unsolved Mysteries, like the so like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, like that sort of dramatic music, but theirs was good. And I mean, that's the stuff that when I hear that, it's just like chills, because it's instantly transferred to a spot where I'm sitting on the floor eating supper and just like zoned in and hoping there's the unexplained on there, because that was the best. That and the UFOs. I'm like, I don't want to hear about lost loves or mysterious disappearances or murder. It's like, okay, I'll watch it, but I want to hear stuff you can't explain.
I just like the Stack's voice. He just like brought something to it.
Yep. Integrity, no matter what it was, if it seemed goofy, or it's like, well, that's pretty far fetched, but it was always something where you're like, oh, I gotta listen. He's narrating. That and Rescue 911 with Shatner.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
I know. I think Pluto's got stationed for both of those, and it's like times like, well, not anymore, but before softball, before like Naomi at least likes watching the volleyball. I'd sit there and that'd be like my Saved by the Bell marathon. Like, I'm gonna turn on some Rescue 911. If nothing else, I want to hear the music and just be like, oh God. When you actually had an intro that was an intro, not just like leading in with a cold opening.
Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days. Damn car, get freaking in the top loader. What the fuck?
You can bang top loaders, but I can't.
Yep. This is my show, remember? Oh, don't give me the fucking evil eye.
You know, it's a family show.
Just remember, I can do this whenever I want.
Yeah, Vinny. Super limited.
Yeah.
What, to 50,000?
I wish.
What is that, 8 million? Pretty sure that says 8 million.
Basically.
8,125,000.
Well, no, it's R. There's R in front of it, but that could be construed as an 8. I mean, I like the CEO. His name is Barry Bookman. I should have waited on that. There's some guy that was selling 4 of those sets for like $12. Of course, shipping was probably more than that, but
Probably.
still.
You've definitely been focusing on the lens loss front as of late.
I don't know if I showed that one last week.
No.
No.
while you're showing a card. That show, Just the 10 of Us, was canceled because they wanted to put another show in its time slot. That show lasted less than one season. It was
That's not-
called Going Places.
It did. It went. It came and it went.
Oh, it's because it was a Heather Locklear show. They were trying to ride her.
We probably weren't the only
Fame.
ones.
Is that the Black Label?
Yeah.
What year? 99?
Um.
That doesn't look like 2000.
Yeah, 99. But that's the insert though too.
Yep.
Whatever. The least appealing of the Fire on Ice.
Yep.
The rarest of the Checkets. But this isn't, of course, Lindros. The Doug Gilmore rare insert. I know. I think I showed that last week.
Yes,
for
you
sure.
did.
I think that's been it this week. Oh, the photo engravings.
Just Lynn Pickens Day, or you just been kind of?
Yeah. There's one I won, and then they canceled it, which I was very happy with that. So I was hoping to get that in too, because that was another, I think of the same year to be a player. And then JJ, there hasn't been much. I'm trying to think what I've seen.
Not that you don't already have.
Yeah, this was one. Well, yeah, the ones. I don't know if I showed that last week either. I probably did. Just hasn't been in anything up. Somebody had bought a best offer on was there triple threads. So I got to look at 130 point and see what it went for. It was Hanley, Stanton, and JJ White Whale. I think it offered 125, and it was instant, like an auto reject when it first came up. I think I had 250 on it, and I'm like, cover me. I'm not going to pay over 2. I don't want to pay over 160. I mean, I'll move up a little, but I'm not being stupid here. So I'll have to see what somebody got it for. But yeah, that's the only one. There's a Allen Ginter 101 up too. I think a mini framed, and the guy had, and of course the guy's username is something Ginter whatever. So it's up for 100 or best offer. I offered 30, instant decline. That's as much as I want that. I'm not spending. I've already spent last year. I don't know if it was last. It must have been last year in ComSeal, and they had the couple plates on there, like Gypsy Queen or whatever. I spent like 25 on there for those, and that's more than I wanted to spend. But I wanted to try to get them out of the way because, again, 101. Other than that, Brodeurs had somebody. There's a 7/8 mirror gold with a regular certified up, 169.99 starting bid, and somebody hit that. I was like, man, that's very strong. And because I got the 6/7, for 100. I think that January of 21. So I mean, it wasn't like we were fucking 10 years ago, and it's like, oh, that's a decent deal. It's like, no, you're paying 67% more for something that's probably 3 times the print run, if not more. So
Yeah, sellers are still stupid. There's still some stupid buyers. I watched something end, and I call a little hanky panky personally. 06 National Treasures jumbo patch numbered to 3.
okay,
I'd never seen one before. It was part of the Broncos nameplate across the front. So different.
mm,
But even then, it's still, 2 colors.
yeah,
Sold for $910. And like the guy who won it had decent feedback, but there was somebody who jumped in with like 32 feedback that bid up $900 on it. And I'm like, numbered to 3, the NFL logo shield 101 sold for a little over $1,200, and a patch numbered to 3 sold for $910. Yeah, I call bullshit.
what was
Like,
it at?
depending-
What would have been at prior to
the
or was it
$900 bid?
yeah, because it still could have been the guy that won it.
I'll have to. Let me see if I still have it saved, because it may have been one of those that I was like, I'm not even keeping this on my ended list because you've lost your fucking mind. Oh, no, there it is. Let's see. Where is 20 bidders, 29 bids? So, like the guy who won it, no, I think he legitimate put in a high ass fucking bid.
Yeah,
But the 35 feedback, and I think it was actually 32 originally, bid $900. The one below that was 332.
see, and that's where.
But even that,
But
like,
that's
to
where
me,
my mind went, was like a 350 would be top of the food chain. That's like, if you're, let's say your run of TDs a 96 or 06, you got, let's say you got the 101, and you're like, I've never seen this one. This completes what I know. Then you're like, I will put like a $500 bid because I don't know, obviously, when I'm going to see it again. There's 2 other copies. I don't know if they will show up. So I get the 330, 350 range, because that makes sense in my completionist, stupid, super PC type guy.
but here's
And
the thing, and this is where you and I think different. So, triple patch, Barry Sanders, Terrell Davis, Thurman Thomas, numbered to 5. Okay. 06 National Treasures.
Mhm.
Hasn't even sold at 265. Yes, there's 2 more out there, but it's a triple patch and it hasn't even fetched 265. So,
I get
like 332, yes, it's a jumbo patch. It's so here's the card.
Okay. So yeah, it's nothing like insanely crazy. It's super nice, but not like
But
a
then,
dolphin head or whatever.
like I said, then you have this. And it hasn't even sold for 265, numbered to 5. Like that's and that's the reason why you and I think different on that. Now, of course,
And there
and then of
it,
course, you know, a card I'll never own. So that one sold last night, 7,099. The one previous, 9,999.99 is what it sold for.
and
It's going down.
first with the Terrell, maybe the guy. And again, let's say there could be a multitude of varying things. Again, guy that got the triple or got the number to 3, maybe an 06 collector, maybe a Denver guy. Maybe he's got that one. Maybe he's got the 1 to 5. So he's like, I don't need it. I've already got it. I've got my copy. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's worse. Maybe it's just like, I've got that copy. I'm good. Now that you're saying, like, okay, we all know where those prices of that shit has gone in the last 5 years. And then with the green, that.
But here, let me put something else. I'm going to put the patch though into another perspective. Donruss Elite passing the torch, dual autograph, Jim Brown, Terrell Davis. Both times it sold for under $1,000. Both times. And a patch number to 3 for almost the same amount. Like I call bullshit. Like I call
That 32 bid is somebody pumping it up or whatever, shilling it. But at the same,
but they didn't win it either, which I feel bad for the person who put a substantial amount of money on it because they're like, I hadn't seen this. This is one that I want, like you said, an 06 National Treasures collector, whatever. Thinking, okay, I'm going to make sure I don't lose this fucking card.
yeah.
Like, if that were me, I'd be pissed. I would be pissed.
Yeah, that.
But on the flip side, don't bid way up there in the event that you're not willing to pay for something either, in the same price, in the same vein, right?
Don't float bids.
Like, whatever I put in is my max bid. Like, period. End of conversation.
Maybe he's already got a copy and he wanted another one, but he wanted to make sure it didn't go underneath the copy that he had before.
Doesn't everybody?
I think that's the delineation between PC and movable cards.
Possibility, David. Possibility.
Yes, but I'm willing to bet that the other 1 or 2, if they've surfaced, of course, would have probably sold in 06, 07, 08 in that time frame. And they didn't sell for that kind of money.
Oh God, no. Mike Tirico used delineation on the Sunday Night Football broadcast, or delineate.
So
it's part of the nomenclature.
I popped like it was somebody returning in wrestling that you didn't expect. I was very excited. I'm like, I'm like, I'm hoping Vinny's listening. I'm hoping Vinny's listening.
How many people, when HBO is mentioned, you hear in your head, da 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 da? You don't remember that on when they premiered a new movie? They went through flew through the air and came up to the HBO thing.
I don't, because I think the only time I ever had HBO is when we had Direct, and they'd have like the free HBO weekend. You get like like maybe a Thursday night at 7 till whatever, Monday at 2 a.m. But I do remember some sort of like elaborate beginning.
That was it. That's the one luxury we had as children. We had cable because we didn't go many places, but we always had cable to take us to the faraway lands of Neverland.
The neighbors had it and they were dirt poor. But I remember that was the first time must have been 80, 89, 90. Short Circuit.
Yep.
I remember watching that and Short Circuit, I think 2 over there. So other than that, I have no clue what was on.
Steve Guttenberg was in the first one, I think.
A Hall of Fame actor.
Yes.
Yes. General good guy. He disappeared off the map for a lot of years, and then he just recently came back.
You saw what everybody else was doing in that time frame. The Danny Mastersons and the Bill Cosbys and all the other good guys.
In the words of Bob Lewis, moving on.
So did you watch any football this weekend?
The Lions. We were at C's game, and Meredith had it on her phone and was trying to keep up with that. But they put in a good effort. And then last night watched the Steelers barely eke it out.
No thanks to their offense.
Yeah. I was like, you can thank their defense for that one.
Yeah, he needs like I said, I wish he was around for about 2 years behind Ben holding a clipboard. It would have
Mhm.
benefited him. He doesn't have a Charlie Batch figure.
No, and that's where they'd be beneficial. Sign like a Colt McCoy, a Blake Bortles, just to have around somebody that's knows the ropes, and instead of who they got. I don't know if they still have Rudolph there. Or,
Mason's there, I believe, and Mitch.
yeah, two people. I don't think you're going to learn much from.
No. If you want to learn how to be bad quarterbacks in the NFL, throw helmets at players. There you go.
The fast track out of the NFL. I mean, those guys got the paperwork for that going.
And the Steelers gave Mitch an extension, which blows my mind. I'm like, we believe in him. Believe in him to do what?
Yeah, he's not.
Fail miserably? He was the quarterback of the Bears. He was horrible. Horrible.
Nothing has changed since then. He can
Better
run
than
a
me,
little
quarterback, but that's not saying much.
He can run a little bit, and that's about it. But as a quarterback, if your best attribute is your legs, and it's not throwing on the run, it's just running, period, go be a track star for the University of North Carolina alumni team.
He, I don't know. He just doesn't have the arm. And him and Mason both, they don't have the confidence in their arms. Like they try to tell Trubisky, let it rip. You got a friggin' 70-yard arm that you won't. It's like you have a governor on it and you won't let it rip. Whatever. We'll see how this goes. I'm sure they'll experiment until they can get in that top 10 one year for a quarterback that's of the Ben ilk, and then the Kenny Pickett experiment will be over, which is sad because the kid's got talent. He's to the wolves too quick, which seems to be an NFL issue.
Yeah. It's almost like you need to have something in place, be like a red shirt year. Just learn. Just sit and fucking learn. Last guy to do that, he played his last game of his rookie year, was Steve McNair. And he had a pretty healthy, well, not healthy, but a healthy career of awards and accolades and stuff of that ilk. But yeah, you don't see that anymore. Oh, we're going to sit him as long as we can. Well, after the first drive or the first game, and they swap him out.
Yeah.
Well, there goes that learning experience. Like if you're Indy, I think I'd rather take my chances. I like Richardson a ton, but I want to see Minshew.
I just said that last night.
Rather have now you'll probably get the chance because Richardson thought he was in college and just like running into the end zone and the guy just trucked him. It's like you're not getting the fucking people aren't going to let up on you, especially when you get talked about how much in that pre-draft time. It's like I remember that. Like I don't want to hear you. I don't give a shit about you. Stroud. God, who else? Bryce Young had more turnovers again last night. Again, if there's a realistic expectation for these guys, that's the thing. You sit there and say, hey, you go 6-10, you go whatever 6-11. That's fine. That we'll deal with that. We know you're not going to fucking win us a title game with the parts around you, but everybody wants instant success, instant like gratification of, hey, we picked this guy number one, and very rarely do you see that turn into like a success story. Peyton Manning his first year was shit. I mean, that's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So
there was a development game the other night. Bedard scored 3 goals, had a hat trick, and everybody's like, "Oh!" I'm like, "It's a development game."
Yeah.
Who are you playing with? Really?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to get excited over? When he's in game one, like look at Lafreniere. Put these guys, when they're playing against NHL caliber defensemen and a third checking line or a fourth line of guys that are just the grind line, when you had a guys like, Malpe, Kosher, Drapes, and
Ty Domi, all those guys.
Yeah, I can't think of the other grind line guy. McCarthy, Darren McCarty. You really think you're going to pull that kind of stuff with a guy like that? Darren McCarty will insert your jaw through your back of your head. If you get slick, it's that. Remember, it's that curve. Screw around and find out type thing. If you think you're just going to waltz in there on a goalie and score some miraculous goal, you're going to get payback. Lemieux used to do it. He used to score this gorgeous goal. Next time out, they'd be trying to take his head off. Did it with Wayne, but Wayne had McSorley that he never touched Wayne because you were killed. So I'm interested to see the hype's thick in the Bedard world right now. His CHL stuff's going. It went down, but it's still like nuts. But I'm interested to see what this kid, the Penguins picked up. He's pretty decent. He had a goal the other night, and he's a little bit bigger. He's 6 foot, like 189. Brendan Yeager, and he's Yager, and he looks like he's got some talent. He's on the training camp roster, so we'll see who comes out of that because I don't know. Hot Dog Phil's still a free agent. You never know. Throw him back on the line with Gino and Hornquist retired, but bring back Phil with Malkin and somebody else. You might have 100 points on that line for a couple guys. Hot Dog Phil wants to play. He said he doesn't want to sit. He said he'll role play, but put him on the third line, fourth line, see what he can do. Still one of the best talents out there, even though he's not in the greatest of shape. Sorry for hijacking your NFL party. You need to talk some NHL. I'm getting the urge. It's like 50 days to camp or something.
No, gotta be under that. Well under. Gotta be. God.
Oh, yeah. What am I thinking? It's almost October. Good Lord. It was like 50 when we were going to national, 50 or 60.
Yeah, it was about 60 then, but sometime early October, we've got confirmation we'll have a guest on to talk about some hockey.
Well, that's delightful.
and then possibly the same month we'll have him on again to talk about something else. I don't want to give things away because, I mean, as much as we love you viewers, we're not going to pander to you and try to be leeches and suck out your ideas because we don't have any ourselves. That just doesn't happen.
We're drama, not content. Dang, camp opens Thursday. Well,
there's a lot of stuff going on now. I saw the old hockey rumors thing was really popping today with the, I don't know what the hell even, I think the tryout thing. Well, that shit was getting signed. Cale Addison re-signed with the Wild. He came over in that Zucker trade. Who the hell was it? Somebody got traded from fucking Vancouver.
Babcock's gone without even coaching a game.
I sent that to Brad, I think, Sunday, and I got no response. Which I don't know why they fucking fired him anyway. That makes no sense.
Chelly was on there today talking. I didn't get to watch it, but I guess he was on Spittin' Chicklets, and Chelly was giving his 2 cents about Babcock, and yeah, that's when he benched him in the Winter Classic. So he started drinking beer, and then in the third period, he's like, "Chelly, you're going." He's like, "No, I ain't, coach. I'm not going anywhere." Yeah, they said he screwed over Mike Modano because he had 1,499 games and he healthy scratched him. I read that yesterday, or saw that yesterday. So probably to this point, the most prolific American-born player, Joe Mullen, him, and it's probably going to end up Austin Matthews because I think he was born in the United States, if memory serves me correctly. So
Arizona,
yeah,
or California, somewhere down
I
there.
think Arizona. I think you're right. So he'll end up going down and beating Mikey Mo, but there's a guy we were primed for the playoffs. He could have went down the playoff road with us, and they never played him. It's kind of when you hear that, you're like, you don't like Babcock even more than you did before. I liked him when I was like, he's a heck of a coach, and then all the stuff came out about him that he's just a jackwad. It's like, dang. If that's how he won, it's not what I wanted to hear. Ray Galaxy, right. Set.
Yeah.
Shh.
Yeah, hopefully that's it for him.
Yeah. I don't think anybody will touch him with a 10-foot pole now to commentate or do much of anything.
No.
Unless he's going to go to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan and coach a beer league or something. And I feel sorry for Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan if that is the case.
Yeah, that's like Paul country.
Oh.
Yellowknife and up that way.
Shoresy Season 2, September 29th. Premiere. Counting the days.
Season 1.
Oh, one of the most prolific hockey shows ever.
You may or may not have mentioned that in passing, I think, previously.
Allegedly. Since that was my whole wardrobe at the National.
Allegedly.
No, that's hashtag facts. I wore Shoresy's shirt, I think, every day. And was calling any Canadian there. He's like your shirt, like your shirt. This lady, like your shirt. I'm like, well, I know where all the Canadians are because the vintage people are.
Well, one Canadian didn't mention it to you.
Oh yeah, he was too busy talking to
Robert Louis.
Oh, that particular Canadian. He can go float himself. He can inhale some helium and go delineate somewhere. Light Bink.
You too, Gary. Yeah, it's that's the only regret right now for Nationals. We didn't go over to wherever Joe found all those hockey deals. That's the only thing. I think about that like far too often. I'm like, I wonder what was over there.
That someone messaged me the last day when we dropped Bob off. They had Pokemon cases for 500 of Scarlet Violet because Mr. P Evolved wasn't out yet, and neither was Obsidian Rain. See, listen to this nomenclature. Thank you, Rudy from Alpha Investments. That's what I've replaced hate watching with. I'm learning new nomenclature. I feel better about my life.
Card shop tours?
The process. What, Dave?
You want to go on card shop tours?
No, I hear you have to pay for those.
Or get some free product.
What kind of product? I hear donuts are involved.
In the Middle East, I think.
Possibly somewhere in that territory.
Wow.
When the train wrecks, it doesn't go off the track a little bit. It's going through the nursing home and the daycare center into the refinery. Everybody's getting taken out.
So it seems.
Yeah, but other than that, for football, Nick Chubb might have had an injury. That's 2 Monday nights in a row. I enjoyed the backlash of the turf or at New York, the whatever their field is. Everybody like stepping up for Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, well, what about J.K. Dobbins? What about all the other players that have had ACL injuries? Now all of a sudden it's important? Do you see your salaries? Shut the fuck up. It happens. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. You ever think of that? J.K. Dobbins has previous injuries of that nature. It happens. So,
I asked C, do you prefer? I don't know where most of her injuries have been, but I asked her if she prefers turf to grass for non-American football. She said she prefers the turf 100%. I said, any particular reason why? She goes, I don't know. I feel safer. She goes, the ball doesn't act weird. We played on grass for the first time other than a tournament Sunday. She said, I hated tracking the ball on that because I had to she goes, I could never take my eye off a ball for a split second. She goes, I can't go grab my water, take a swig. And she's like, no, a weird bounce on non-turf. And she said, it drives me nuts. Preference, I guess, because you're up there shaking your head and you seem to prefer grass.
The only time we played turf was indoor. There was no turf.
Our home field is turf, outdoor turf.
It hurts a lot less to slide tackle on grass than what it does on turf.
She did a slide tackle on turf last week. She said she was good. This week she did it on grass, and the ref almost pulled her out of the game because she got cleated above the knee, and I guess there was like a pin drop of blood. And he's like, if you can't get that fixed, you have to go. And she's like, wiped it off and hiked up her thing and pulled the sock against it. She goes, no blood, I'm good. Also, was going to give her a yellow card for yelling keeper. I was like, do you need to read the rule book again there, dude? And first thing Tatenda said was, how old was he? I said, he was a grown-ass man. And then Tatenda looked at me and he goes, grown-ass man? And he's like, yeah. I said, he was probably older than me, probably in his mid-50s. I'm like, keeper, away? Sort of the two words you say all the time. If the keeper wants the ball, it's keeper. If it's away, it means somebody else got to get the ball away.
I know Naomi first game last year for the spring and softball was on turf, and she's like, I do not like that at all. So get used to it because this is what it's going to be. Especially if you have shitty weather. You're going to have to play at this field, and we had to play the doubleheader there at one time against two teams that were not that school or the school's field. So it was like two different schools coming over there and playing us. So three schools that aren't the home field school playing there. So said it sucks, but it's part of the world. That's what you got to fucking deal with. So shut up and deal with it.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Like, turf makes sense up north.
Yeah.
Turf
So
down here makes no sense.
Down there, Florida, the Gulf states, California. Well, pretty much anything south that Mason-Dixon.
I love turf pellets. Those are my favorite. Pick them off all their socks. Because he's diving on the ground constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's those little black turf pellets. And sit there and pick them all out. Then if I miss one, I got to look in the washing machine and pick them all out. Cleaning goalie uniforms has become a art for me. Especially on grass, because their stains are nice. She had some good ones on her uniform, which I have to wash by hand tomorrow because she has a game Saturday at 9:45 in the AM.
Wish I could clean the Naomi's jersey because she never will fucking slide. I'm like, that's gonna change. You know that, right? So if it doesn't, if I'm a coach, I'm pulling your ass. But of course, in the 14U, it was go watch a video on YouTube. I'm like, how are you gonna do that? Where are you gonna practice? I mean, our field is literally sand on top of concrete. So you're not going to fucking try to slide there. The outfield's not much better. It's like, looks like they're aerating the fucking soil. So many spike marks in there. What are you going to do? I mean, you got to teach these kids. You can't fucking sit there and say, do it yourself when it's your job as a coach to teach them. And they all wanted to learn, but can't do that because you gotta appease your fucking stupid kid that wants to scrimmage 5-on-4 every day because that's how the game's played.
Of course it is.
Still trying to figure out what to do next summer. She still is like, I want to play, but I just don't want to play here. I said, I get it. You're not going to get better by playing with people that are stupid. Don't care about the game. That's the issue. So
Cards when you go back in, Steve?
I can. I really wish it'd freaking do something out here.
When's the last time you guys had rain?
It was sometime last week, but we're still way, way low as far as how much we should have had this year. been quite the light show, but it's south of us. At least the major lightning.
Yeah, there's some video that was up on here. Chilcote. There's a bunch of lightning there, like nonstop for a minute. So I'm like, well, sure that's where some heavy storms are at. If it's a light show in the sky for a continuous minute, I'm sure there might be more.
So these are the most recent pickups. Like I said, Dave's seen all these. I'll let him commentate because he does better.
Nothing like Crown.
Limited series to 99.
98 Mystery Finest Refractor. Edison Terrell.
The copper out of 2000 Pacific. 99.
98.
98.
I have them in order. That's the only reason why I know.
99 Prism.
The 61.
Crown Premier. '99 Omega. Fucking blue.
Not just blue, folks.
Copper. And that one is, again, a new one to me. Momentum
It's Contenders SSD,
Contenders.
number to 80.
Omega 2000 Platinum Blue to 53 or 51.
Jeez. I should probably have the light on in here. 50 something.
There's the 2000 Pacific copy.
I'm glad I didn't go the Pacific route for you for Christmas.
Revolution 2000 Red.
Well, these all came from the same seller, so.
Titanium private stock.
That's freaking nice.
The Dynagon.
Lemieux has no Dynagons. I wish he did.
Invincible to something. Atomic 02.
Ah, Ben Dryden.
Vanguard.
Oh, Ben Dryden.
Vanguard Red.
To 30.
Premiere date.
Was the only thing this guy selling TDs?
There was a few other things, but
A majority TD?
Flair Tradition, Decades of Dominance, number to 125 mini. MVP Silver.
02 to 100. Pacific 02, the premiere date to 36. The limited to 71. The 02 Pacific.
Yep.
Those ones I'll be very confident in my ability to remember the number like we talked about beforehand.
You did good on some of them.
A few.
But yeah. Knocked off quite a bit of specific needs. So I think we can probably wrap it up, Dave, once Vinny sits back down. Of course, Dor could, I guess, sign off for him, maybe.
Can I show a couple?
No.
Finally took it down, Dave. The blue. So this one's been eluding me for a while. Not my favorite uniform, as everybody knows. The Robo Penguin. Not my
I thought that was your favorite, and the Badger Bob was your least favorite.
no. Speaking of Badger Bob setup, there's the airbrushed remove all things Badger Bob setup. But this was like 20 some bucks, and I was like, I kind of like the shot. So the setup was okay. So I didn't have any leaf cards, so why not? This is number
You do.
like
You do.
I do, but this
You
is
got a patch. You got a big patch number to 4.
oh yeah, I do. That how dare me? Yeah, I forgot you got me that. So this is number to 45. And then I'll just show these and then I'll be done. So OPG Platinum, Robert, they're rainbows. That's what their refractors are called, rainbows. Vinny, that was a year ago. Yes, Robert, it was. Now it's almost 3 years ago. But those are your rainbows. Here's your to 149 rainbows, gold rainbows to be precise. And then orange rainbows. The gold ones are numbered to 149. The oranges are numbered to 49. But this is out of 15-16. This is McDavid's rookie year. Those I could have got, the boxes were $89.99 at a card show, and I didn't have much cash with me. Now those boxes are about $700 a piece. And lastly, we'll do this. So there's the canvas out of extended, the regular one. And then the only break I've ever bought into for like $7, I got the black and white canvas. So different pull ratio, harder to find this one, but it was the last. I thought it was Synergy I bought into. It was extended, and this is like the only stuff he has. So I actually got something out of a break and didn't lose out. So I was happy. So don't know when. I've tried to get into some more, but have had no luck to this point. But that's enough. There's more here, but that's a song for another time.
Yeah, anytime you can hit in a break and actually hit somebody. Was that Lemieux only or Pittsburgh?
It was a Lemieux only spot. That's why it was so cheap, I think. It was like $5 and then $2 shipping. So it was like $7, and that card's like $25, $30.
I was gonna say it's rare to get something you want, something you need, and then have it be a value of it. Not like the regular base card or something like that. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
canvas black and white now, or yeah, the odds are against me. The
Pittsburgh spot for Synergy went for like 133 for a case, a 16. I'm like, which really isn't bad when you think about it, but that's 133 that I'd rather spend on stuff that I could show in the near future that I took down that I was quite happy with. I lost one last night for Pacific. I bid high. It was if you watch the Mike Kramer episode, it's the front door copy of the card. Well, it's not numbered. So I was going for one that was numbered.
The true pack pull version.
That one right there. So it's numbered to 30 something, I think 31 maybe.
Yep.
I was trying to grab that. So I have this copy, which is a gorgeous card. Good Lord, this card. I love it. And I think I bid $131. And it went for 134 or 100, something like that. Like 133 something, and went for 134, like 50 cents. I was the underbidder. So but I got three cards in the last 2 days that are really slick. So I was happy with my consolation prizes. And Steve's Pacific cards were all freaking dope. I love just seeing Pacific, whether it's baseball, football, hockey. Could you imagine if there was basketball? Could you imagine those setups, fellas?
No.
Where's your vision?
In my other pants.
No, I like that where they didn't make basketball, but they did. That's the thing. Not again, it's obviously more college centric. A couple of years because I think it was what 94, 5, 5, 6. I think 6, 7. They made it. But when you have a show and you go on there and you don't know what you're talking about, I mean, it's not a good look, but keep trying.
In theory, he made every basketball card out there that everybody collects because he created all the names. When it comes down to it, all the things, all the names, none of those guys know what Pacific is. It's the sad thing.
No, it's
What's up, Paul?
must be 2 in the afternoon up there in the Arctic Circle.
No, I think he's closer to home for once.
I don't remember if I showed him. I have no idea. All the promos, the shitty promos.
I know you showed the police card.
Okay. So, I mean, the backs are, I mean, some of the best backs in the world. I mean, so much information. At least these are quasi-limited. For back in the day, 10,000. But I love the projected #1 pick. And again, my favorite. Love that foil. to think today, what did I get? The 95, 96. Check it. Oh, the score. Which isn't the rarest one. The 94.5 and then the 6.7 are the toughest, at least to find. Which again, it's fun. And at least not everything pops up right away. Because like yeah, the 96.7 score, the one I showed like Dougie Gilmore earlier, that's 1 in 35 jumbos, so that's not even one a box. Because I think the jumbos were 16 packs, maybe per box. Again, don't know 100%. And then what else? Oh, the 95.6 one is 1 in 36 retail and 1 in 86 Canadian. And then the 94.5, which is going to be a bugger to get. 1 in 72 Canadian hobby. So that's like the Casperitis I got, but I don't want the clipped corner. So again, just like I said last week, something fun. Still something that's going to hold some sort of value. Again, it's not just some scrub. It's not like a George LaRock type player, or hate to say it with Paul being here, but like a Marty Reasoner, where yeah, you have a few good years, but you're not. Even Jamie Langenbrunner got to the. I think he's in the American Hockey Hall of Fame. Got now voted in for that. So I mean, like a Derek Plant, somebody like, okay, I like the guy because I watched him at UMD. I met the guy. I had a solid little career, but and there's so much stuff with Lindros too. That all the Canadians are coming in late. They're all showing up. What's going on, Mike? But yeah, that's like Steve said earlier. He's asking about that, and it's fun. There's no JJs, and if there are, it's stuff I've got, or it's stupid prices. Broder, there's stuff out there, but it's a lot of the new shit. Stature. I think there's some Ultimate. There's some Black Diamond. I mean, stuff that's I don't necessarily care about. I think Joe had sent a link for the Z Gold. Another Z Gold popped up, and I thought it was like a fucking pretty good price. I think about 700 American. And it took a few days before somebody took it down, but they did, and that's good for them. That is a very fair price on something that tough. So again, nothing I look forward to for the Lindros. That stuff obviously that I'd love to get because it's all incredibly tough to run across. But again, in due time, it pops up sooner rather than later. Then you do, as the kids say, and make the moves. Hopefully, try to move something out because there is like I said, a few Brodeur cards that I have that are not of the rookie year to 03-04 that I've got hashtag good deals only on. That I mean, I can move for some sort of money. I don't know what, but I know there's always a dearth of those collectors out there because I know the old Insta feed is always fucking filled with every Brodeur ever made because I follow 7 other collectors. But I'm not went out and started pillaging and panhandling for Lindros. I want to wait for a few more nice cards to come in before that. And some should be on the way. They take the sweet ass time from Canada. Several coming from up there, but and with that, thank everybody for watching. Enjoyable show on, I won't say short notice, but 7.5 hours and finding, or about 7 hours finding out things are going to change, but tis what it is. Have those fellas back on the RBI crew gang at some point here. Even if it's a Wednesday show, we have to go on then, but try to get that done soon. So, for Vinny, for Steve, and Dave, it's been the Insert Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, wonderful hobby, wonderful. The friendships you forge along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Well, I knew about it.